Blast me to Bermuda! It's time for the Mad Merlins unboxing of Warhammer Imperium Delivery 17 by Hachette Partworks. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mad Merlins unboxing. So today I've just received my latest delivery of the Imperium Partworks. So really excited for this one. It's got a lot of good models in it and there's no paints, so it's literally all models, this delivery. Plus we also have a little bonus. So we'll unbox the bag. We will then go through each of the issues individually, and then I'll show you the bonus piece of information that we've got to go over. So let's get started. So we've got issue 63, 64, 65, and 66. So as you might have seen, this is going to be all our Primaris infiltrators. That's the ones. And that piece of paper is our bonus. I'll keep that hidden for the moment. So we will go through each of the issues individually, have a little look at the frames, quick flick through the contents, and then we'll get on to the special information. And then I'll give you my final thoughts on the delivery. So let's go vertical and have a look through those issues. So we'll start at the beginning with issue 63. Just chuck it all out. So we've got some 40mm bases and 3 32mm bases. So this will be for our models. And here's the models in question. I'll zoom in a little bit. So this is the one part of the Vanguard frames from Shadow Spear, and now only available in the Combat Patrol. So we've got one suppressor, which is our flying boy. We've got an eliminator with a sniper, and we've got 3 infiltrators. Rather nice kit. We have a couple of head options for our sniper guy. You've got either hood up or hood down, just so you can help differentiate the two that you get in the squad. In suppressors sadly don't have this, they only have a single head. But I think there's a couple of ways you can actually angle the head to get it a little bit different. So rather nice. So zooming out again. So issue 63. I'll have a quick flick through this. So we've got our battle record for our infiltrators, our build guide, and we got a rather heavy focus on the paint guide. So this is a rather in-depth paint guide. There's a lot of detail covered because we now have all the paints we need to paint our models. So it goes through painting the 3 infiltrators and then the suppressors and eliminator. We've got a nice tutorial on how to paint camo cloaks. I'll be doing mine in my snow pattern. And then we got our basing technique finally. So yeah, rather nice. It covers all the different head options as well, which is pretty good. But it only does give you the one skin color, which is the pale flesh. And then we're moving on to our rules. So that's our fully painted models. So that's the 2 from this issue and the 2 from 66. So we got the rules for our Eliminator squad, the rules for our infiltrators and suppressors, and we got a mission called Crucial Resupply. So it's a big one. So we're using issues 38 and 58 back mats, and we got a deployment of 9 objective markers, and these will be the supply drops. So yeah, we got, that was a fun mission actually, quite thematic. So that's 63. Issue, upside down, 64 brings us to our Necrons. So we are only getting the 1 Necron delivery issue in this delivery, but we have 5 32mm bases, and we have our same issue from 25, 24, 25, something like that. We have the Immortal frame again, but this time we're going to be building them up as the Elite Sniper Deathmarks. So that'd be quite fun to do. Personally, I already have some Deathmarks, so I might be building these up as Tesla Immortals, and I'll paint the Deathmarks I've already got built and primed. But we got our data sheet here for the Deathmarks. Got a little bit of background in this issue. So we have a background on Artemis and his mission to stop Eldrad, Chaplain Cassius of the Ultramarines, and we got a war zone focusing on the first Tyrannic War, so one of the first big invasions by the Tyranids against the Imperium. This one focusing on the Ultima segmentum, where they hit the Ultramarine homeworld of Macragge, nearly eliminating it. Oh, I swear I know words. I do, I think. So yeah, Battle for Macragge, which was 4th edition starter box, pitted a 10-man tactical squad against 8 Gene Stealers, 16 Termagants, I think it was, and Rip Spore Mines. Quite a nice little box. I actually bought quite a few of those back when I first started it out. So next up, we've got a build guide on the Deathmarks. So it's only showing you how to build one, as they are all the same. The only thing is there are a couple of different combinations of arms. We have one combination. We have one that's 41, which goes with gun 40 and 42. Then we have 3 38s and 39, which all go with gun 37. So one thing I would suggest is possibly glue the support arm to the gun, or even glue the support arm in first and then glue the gun arm on afterwards, so you get a nice lineup. Let the gun support arm set first, so you get a perfect alignment on your guns. Moving on, we've got our paint guide. So we've got some nearly complete paint guide for our Deathmarks here. We are only missing 1 paint, which doesn't come until the next delivery. Then we have Space Marine deployment rules. So we got combat squads, death from above, and concealed positions. So this gives us all our different Space Marine deployment rules. So combat squads, if you have a 10-man squad, you can break it down into 2 5-mans. Death from above is all about your jump pack units being able to go into Sky Strike, and concealed positions is for your eliminators and such, being able to deploy in hidden positions ahead of the enemy forces. And we got a couple of tutorials there, one for the combat squads and one for the concealed positions. So we'll be able to use the combat squads rule soon, because we'll have 10-man squad there of infiltrators, and we also got a 10-man squad of assault intercessors. I almost said Necrons because I'm looking at Necrons. Next faction rule is Necrons, so this is rules for the different Necrons. So we've got the Royal Court. So when mustering your army, if you contain an Overlord, that model must be selected as a Warlord. If your army does not contain an Overlord, select your Warlord as normal. Dimensional translocation rule, finally. I mean, we've had so many units with this rule, and we've only had the issue 15 tutorial that told us about the rule. But it's nice to have it finally in our rules section. And then we got the living metal rule as well, finally. And again, tutorials on how they work. Rules for our Deathmarks. So they have the dimensional translocation, command protocols, and reanimation protocols as normal. And we got the use of their synaptic disintegrator. So being sniper rifles, they can pick out characters, ignoring lookout sir. Then we have a rallying cry mission. So we're using our small mat again, 3 objectives, and we got corner deployment zones, looks like it. Looks another little fun mission. So moving on then to issue 65, and this is one of the best issues I think in this delivery, because we get a nice lot of models there. So we get 3 40mm bases, and these are the newer ones without the hole mark guides on them, so that's pretty cool. We also get 4 32mm bases in this issue. I keep saying delivery for issues. I think my brain needs coffee. Be right back. I've had my coffee, I'm back. So, this frame is chock-block full of awesome models. So we get our Suppressor and Eliminator Sergeants. We get our Helix Adept, 2 more Infiltrators, our Infiltrator Sergeant, and also we get the Librarian, had him, the Phobos Lieutenant. So that'd be quite cool to build up and paint. There's a really good detail, nice alternate heads in places. Yeah, some rather awesome looking models. Never been a fan of the Phobos armor, but I am looking forward to building and painting these guys for something a little different to what I normally do paint. I've also been contemplating even painting these guys in 4th Company, and I might bring in my Uriel Ventress model and use him as my captain. A bit of damage there, that's probably going to snap off, but I'll try and fix it. Anyway, moving on to our issue. So, 65. We get the battle record for our Phobos Lieutenant. Got a couple more heroes. We've got Logan Grimnar and Ragnar Blackbane of the Space Wolves. We learn about Space Marine vehicles. So this will bring you on to another thing I'm going to talk about briefly at the end. So we've got the different types of walkers. So the Redemptor Dreadnought and the Invicta Warsuit. Got our build guide. So all these models are going to have a fairly simple. There's not many leftover parts at least. Then we've got our paint guide. So basically shows you how to paint models. For the Infiltrators, Suppressor and Eliminator, you'll need to refer back to 63. So that's how we paint these guys. And then we're focusing on all the unique details. So the red for lenses, lead belcher and black details. We're finally using Troll Slayer orange. Actually, no, we used that. We're finally using Uriel yellow for like one tiny little bit. Oh, we're also using it on this guy's hair as well. Okay, that's nice. So yeah, we're giving some nice new painting tips here. So that's pretty cool. Again, they're not giving you many alternate ways of painting flesh, but messing around with your shades, you can easily get some good dark flesh. Using the paints in the collection, use Mornfang Brown and a little bit of Abaddon Black just to darken it down again to get a nice dark flesh. And highlight up with a little bit of Bugman's Glow mixed in with a little bit of brown. That will be quite a nice highlighted paint. And you can just do, as the magazine suggests, putting the Reikland Flesh shade over Corax White. Then on top of that, you could put, we've only got Agrax Earth shade really, but I'd also suggest maybe sepia to get a nice sort of tanned skin. Yeah, there's ways you can get around it. There's plenty of other paint guides online as well. But here we are, we've got going back more and more goggle details to do. Make sure you fix your errors before going forward. And then we got our Helix Adepts pack there to paint as well. That's our models so far, all looking rather nice. We get the rules for the Lieutenant. That's it. We get a tutorial here for Tactical Precision, which is his aura ability. And also we get a tutorial for the Company of Heroes. So we get 2 Lieutenants for 1 HQ slot, which is pretty cool. And we get the same thing, I think, for the Necrons with the Cryptex, which is pretty cool as well. Then we have another mission, Breaking the Seals. So another double map mission, 3 objectives, and we're going end to end this time around. So yeah, another quite cool little mission. So we've got to do some actions in this one. It looks like we've got to activate a glyph to, I'm guessing, infiltrate the Necron tomb complex. And that's that. Oh, no, it's not. We have a pullout. So this is the War for Ramesses Kalma's Skull Warzone page. And this just covers pretty much all the stuff going on our final planet, Kalma's Skull. Focuses on the new Necron stuff. So we've got the Destroyer, Heavy Destroyer over there. We get the new Overlord on his command barge. As for the Imperium forces, we get firepower in the form of a Fire Strike turret, the Outrider ATV, or Invader ATV. And of course, we are going to be getting Guilliman, the big guy himself. So, looking forward to those issues. And finally, issue 66. So, just the same as issue 63 model-wise. So again, 2 40mm bases and 3 32mm bases. So the only thing we are missing is the flying stands. I'm lucky, I've got plenty of spares from having multiple issues of the Battle Sisters. But you should also have spares because you only ever used 5 of those flying stands and you got a total of 9. So you'll have enough spare for the 3 guys that need the flying stands here. But same sprue as issue 63, like I said. So this is frame B from the Shadow Sphere box. We've got the Suppressor, the Eliminator down here, and our 3 Infiltrators. And then at issue, so 5 new models, learn about Chaos Knights and new Space Marine rules. So we get our battle record finally for our Suppressors. So even if we have been doing awesome stuff, we haven't been able to record it, but hopefully if you can remember it, you can record it on here. And the same for our Eliminators. And we've got nice alternative schemes. So we've got a nice desert camo here. We've got urban city camo. And there's a nice one there that looks very snow-like as well. Oh, can't see it, there he is. It's nice bluey and white colour schemes, that's pretty cool. So yeah. Following on from our first Tyrannic War, we got our second Tyrannic War. So High Fleet Kraken, this time attacking Ultima Segmentum from the Eastern Fringe. So before, High Fleet Behemoth came up from the south. This time Kraken, my favourite High Fleet. I just love the red and bone. I use it on a lot of my armies. So we got planets like Sofa, Obliterex, Teleran. And then it does come pretty close to Macragge. We get as far into it as Ikar 4. Yeah. The Battle of Ikar 4, which is the final one, and the Doom of Iandan, which is another reason that I collected Kraken. I had a Iandan army at some point in my career, and I ended up having the 2 as a opposing force. So we learn about the Chaos Knights. This is another inquisitorial report focusing on the traitor houses of the Knights. We got background about Darnath Lysander, the commander of the Phalanx and captain of the first company of the Imperial Fists. And we also have Tor Garadon, who is the captain of the third company, and he's crossed the Rubicon Primaris and wears Gravis armor now. Pretty cool character. And he, like I said, captain of the third company. He's come to prominence pretty recently. He had a brand new model back along. But yeah, really good character, and a model I've been trying to pick up for a while, but I'm not really wanting to start an Imperial Fists army. If I did get him, I'd probably paint him up as if he's attached, sent to the Crimson Fists. So I might do that. And next we have City of Death, a story featuring the Adeptus Astra Militarum, even not Adeptus, against the Xenos cultists of the Genestealer cults. So this is another double-page story, so we are getting more and more in-depth stories, which I love. I love reading these little short stories. We got nicely done Genestealer cults Chimera there, with all sorts of glyphs and stuff, and the cultists riding on top. That's pretty cool. And then we have the Uprising. So next we got a build guide, and for painting we go back and look at issue 63. So finally, for the rules section of this issue, we have Angels of Death Part 2. So this features the combat doctrines, which is our last set of rules that we get. So during the game we choose which doctrine. So it tells us which doctrine is active. There are ways you can get a different doctrine active depending sometimes on the army you're playing, and I think there might be it used to be a stratagem, but I'm not sure if it exists anymore, where you could change the combat doctrine to one that's already gone, or even one that hasn't been used. But yeah, so it gives us bonuses to our fighting throughout the game. So first battle round, we get the Devastator doctrine, so we're focusing on firing our heavy weapons. Second round, we're tactical, so we're making use of moving around the board, etc. And other ranged weapons come into effect for close range. Third battle round, we can select either to keep going into tactical doctrine, or we can move to the assault doctrine. And from the fourth turn onwards, the assault doctrine is active when we are getting up close to the enemy. So we can either have 2 turns of the assault doctrine or 2 turns of the tactical doctrine, but we only ever get 1 use of the Devastator, which is kind of annoying. But like I said, I think for armies that focus on heavy fire, you can get a Devastator doctrine active a couple of extra times, which would be quite cool. So here we have a tutorial on how the doctrines work and how they affect the units and weapons we have. So Devastator doctrine will affect bolt sniper rifles, the accelerator autocannons, and our frag and crack raids. Tactical doctrine benefits our bolt carbines, flamestorm gauntlets, twin bolt rifle, and the mastercrafted bolt carbine. And the assault doctrine focuses on the Astartes chainsword, close combat weapons, force sword, mastercrafted power sword, flamestorm gauntlet melee, paired combat blades, pistols, heavy bolt pistols, and Volkite pistols. Doesn't mention plasma pistols. But I thought we would probably cover plasma pistols as well. And then we have subterranean warfare, so another mission where we get to select 2 mats and place our terrain, etc. Very thematically. So this one looks like we're going to be scoring 5 points for each objective. For each of this we satisfy, maximum 15 points. So if we control 1 or more objectives, we get 5, 2 or more, we get 5, and if we control more objectives than the opponent, we get an extra 5. And the secondary objective is key positions at the end of your command phase, score 3 points if you control objective marker 3. So the center battlefield is obviously the important place. It's the same mats actually that from the SU-62 setup, so I'm thinking I'll put a fairly biggish style ruin in the center there, a couple of smaller ones around the outside, make that like the main area we're fighting over. That'd be quite cool. And then I'm going to do a little teaser here. So this is our next 2 issues. We are getting 2 new paints, Corax White and Tesseract Glow. So we're going to be updating our Adeptus Mechanicus models, and we're finally putting all this glowing paint onto our Necrons. We get new rules for the Adeptus Mechanicus as well, and we learn about the Silver Templars. Then we have here, quite interesting, so we get a Theatre of War for Kalma's Skull, we have focus on Necron heroes, and we get our Necron warlord traits, but also it says an intro to the newest faction. So I'm thinking that's just going to be Leagues of Votan, but it'd be interesting to see if we're going to be getting a special faction for the Imperium magazine. Perhaps we can turn part of our collection into another faction for the magazine. That's going to be quite interesting and looking forward to. So we get our final Wraith there, which is pretty good. Whew! Right, I think that's about everything. I'll bring all the issues back in and I'll give you my final thoughts on this delivery. So there we have it. That is issue 17 of Imperium, and that is a whole lot of plastic. I don't think we've seen a delivery this plastic heavy since we got our last few sprues of the Adeptus Sororitas, and I don't think I've seen a pile of bases this big since that time as well. But it's nice that we got some new units for our Space Marines. It's been a while since we had Space Marine stuff. We've been focusing mainly on the Sisters and the AdMech. So last delivery we had the Outriders, which is a nice return to the Space Marines. But now we got these nice little Vanguard Marines, and as I've mentioned, excuse me, I've never been the biggest fan of Phobos armor, but I'm always up to painting something different. And I'm thinking I might even follow the paint guides in the magazine more closely than I have done before for Ultramarine models. I may even, like I said, do these guys as if they are 4th company, and when I use my captain's data sheet, I will use my Uriel Ventress model. So it's like he's come at the head of a brand new strike force from the Ultramarines, bringing the power of the 4th company with him. But yeah, looking forward to using the Deathmarks. Like I said, I've got a squad built, so I'm going to build these guys as Tesla Immortals. I know we can't use them in the game, so we ain't got the full rules. But for my own personal army, I am definitely looking at getting some Tesla Immortals. So I think it's a fun delivery. We got some really good units, loads of new models for us to build and paint. Not a lot of background information this time around, but we still get a fair good bit. So I did mention a special piece of information, and that special piece of information is this. So we are getting a special issue focusing on Inquisitor Greyfax. So this is pretty good. We get a near £20 character, and it's only going to cost us as the subscribers $9.99. So you can only get this if you are a subscriber. If you don't want it, email Hachette and say you don't. But you are going to miss out on a wonderful character. From what I'm guessing, we're going to see the full plastic kit. We're going to get all the rules required to use it in our games. We'll probably get a mission as well featuring her. We'll get all the background and paint guides as usual, and build, paint, and background information. So it's going to be quite cool magazine. Well worth a pickup if, like me, you love the Inquisition, because they are because no one ever suspects them. And now, as I mentioned earlier about another bonus, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to save that for another video. But we have now been informed on the extra 10 issues. So over those 10 issues, we are getting a Redemptor Dreadnought, a Skitarii Marshal, a squad of Paragon Warsuits, Illuminar Zaras, the Hexmark Destroyer, and Kyria Draxus, who is another Inquisitor character. So we don't know when we're going to be getting, what the order is even of those issues, but we are going to get some awesome new issues in the extended 10 issue run. So issues 81 to 90, and depending on how popular this magazine run stays, it might even get extended to 100, which would be quite cool. I wonder what else they'd include. I would like to see, as I've mentioned, more Adeptus Mechanicus stuff. But, like I said, I'm going to save that, I think, for another midweek ramble later on. So, yeah. I'm thinking this gets a good solid 5 out of 5 for what we get. We get pretty much the entire contents of the Combat Patrol minus the tank, transport vehicle for the Space Marines, and we get the Deathmarks, which it's one of the older new Necron kits, but it's still a lovely kit either way. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for this video. I am going to sort out my filming schedule for this lot. As most of the models tell you to refer back to previous issues, I'm thinking I might have to build and bulk spray everything, because we are getting a bit colder weather, so I'm not getting the best weather for spraying at the moment. Plus, I am running low on blue spray. But I'm going to get these guys built and sprayed, ready to paint up. Luckily, though, we do have one issue where we have a duplicate frame, so I can easily build one of these frames right now if I wanted to, and then I can use that one for 2 different issues for when I do the actual issue-by-issue reviews. But I've got some reading to do before that, because I've got to read through all these lovely magazines. And like I said, I'm going to sort out my filming schedule, and I will get these guys sorted out. But I've rambled on for way too long. I really need to try and crack these down to under half an hour. But with that said, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please give this video a like. And if you want to, drop a comment down below. It helps the channel out, and it means I get to have a nice conversation with all you lovely followers. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, there's all my links in the description down below as well. And I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.